Me. So I edited the clips as well to make it look relevant. So in today's video, we are looking at what if Donald Trump wins the elections? How will the world view United States? What will happen? Because we have seen Donald Trump several times being taken to court, prosecuted, so many things have been said. So if Donald Trump won the election this next month, a lot of things are going to change about United States, because so far right now United States is one of the best countries, if not the best country in the world. People respect United States a lot. So if Donald Trump wins elections, people are going to look at it like, what? So what was it all about? What was it? The judiciary, everything is going to change about United States, and people are going to lose trust, and people are really going it actually, if Donald Trump won election, United States is going to be a talk of the world for the longest, and people will never stop using United States to bash or to say something, because like we believe in them, we trust them, we love them, we love United States. It's a special country on this earth, and it's my favorite country so far when it comes to humanitarian acts or bringing in immigrants. They care about everybody, just everybody, and they are respected. United States is the best country in the world. So people believe what they do, people emulate what they do. So if Donald Trump won elections, people are going to be like, did a criminal win elections, or what is it? So it's going to be a lot. So we are just looking and
The year is 2023, and the idea of Donald Trump back in the White House in 2025 isn't just a dystopian fever dream, it's a terrifyingly plausible reality. And folks, it's not just America that should be losing sleep over this. This is about the leader of the free world. The entire world has a stake in who occupies the Oval Office. If America re-elects Trump, the rest of the world might start questioning the integrity of the whole operation. So, buckle up, because we're diving into the potential global implications of a second Trump presidency. And trust me, it's not going to be pretty. Now let's talk about Trump's business acumen, shall we? Treating the global economy like monopoly, slipping property cards up his sleeve. Trump's business record is as clean as a public restroom floor after a chili cook-off. Multiple bankruptcies, allegations of fraud, and countless lawsuits. The New York Attorney General is dedicated to investigating Trump's dealings, inflating asset values for loans, then deflating them to dodge taxes. This behavior doesn't inspire confidence in the international community. All right, let's talk about the 2020 election, shall we? Because apparently, accepting defeat with grace and dignity is for suckers, or at least for people who aren't Donald Trump. Instead of acknowledging the will of the people, Trump decided to channel his inner sore loser. This wasn't just your average "the dog ate my homework" excuse. This was a full-blown conspiracy theory buffet. And the truly baffling part, he actually convinced a good chunk of the country that this nonsense was true. We're talking millions of people who apparently missed the memo that democracy relies on accepting election results. The legal challenges that followed were about as successful as a screen door on a submarine. Trump's refusal to accept defeat eroded trust in American democracy, both at home and abroad. Right, let's talk about the classified documents case, because this one's a real humdinger. It's like finding out your grandpa wasn't just collecting stamps, he was hoarding Cold War secrets in his basement. The National Archives, which is a far more interesting place than its name suggests, realized that some important papers were missing. Papers that, shouldn't be left on a bathroom floor in Mar-a-Lago or wherever else Trump might have left them. The charges here are about mishandling classified documents and obstruction of justice. Basically, did he know he shouldn't have these documents and did he try to hide them? And spoiler alert, it looks pretty bad. Imagine being told by the very government you used to run that you can't just keep top secret files lying around. And then, instead of saying, "Oh my bad," you stuff them under a toupee and pretend you haven't seen them. That's the gist of it. Ah yes, January 6th, a day that will live in infamy, or at least until the next news cycle. This wasn't just your average let's storm the Capitol kind of day. This was a full-blown assault on American democracy. Trump's legal scrutiny here is about his role in the insurrection. Did he incite the riot? Did he try to overturn the election results? It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, except the car is the American government and the driver is tweeting conspiracy theories from the back seat. Now, Trump claims he was just exercising his right to free speech. But there's a difference between saying I disagree with the election results and saying let's march down to the Capitol and stop the peaceful transfer of power. One's protected by the Constitution, the other's just, it's just bonkers. The January 6th committee has laid out a pretty damning case, and now it's up to the Justice Department to decide whether to bring charges. It's like watching a very serious game of legal hot potato, except the potato is potentially the future of American democracy. No pressure, guys. Okay, folks, buckle up, because we're diving into the seedy underbelly of campaign finance law. And let me tell you, it's about as glamorous as it sounds. This indictment revolves around hush money payments allegedly made during the 2016 campaign. You see, it turns out there are very strict rules about using campaign funds. You can't just use them to, say, silence someone who might have damaging information about you. Now, the charges here are about falsifying business records. Did Trump and his team try to cover up these payments? Did they try to make them look like something they weren't? It's like trying to claim that receipt for a $130,000 NDA was just for legal consultation. The prosecution argued that these payments were made to influence the election and violated campaign finance laws. It's a tangled web, but one thing's for sure. This is the kind of scandal that makes you want to take a long, hard shower afterwards. Shower. So we've covered the criminal charges, the insurrection, the documents, the whole shebang. You'd think that would be enough for one man, right? Well, buckle up, because we're diving into the wonderful world of civil lawsuits. And let me tell you, Trump's got more lawsuits than a law school library has overdue notices. We're talking accusations of everything from sexual misconduct to defamation. It's like a greatest hits compilation, but instead of catchy tunes, it's just allegations of wrongdoing. And just like that greatest hits album your aunt keeps gifting you really wish it would just go away. Now, it's important to remember that in the American legal system, being accused of something doesn't make you guilty. But when you're facing this many lawsuits from this many different people, it does make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, there's a pattern of behaviour here that's worth paying attention to. And look, I know what you're thinking, John. This is supposed to be about what the world thinks if Trump wins in 2024, not another deep dive into his legal woes. But here's the thing. These lawsuits, they paint a picture that the rest of the world is watching very, very closely. And it's not exactly a flattering portrait. All right, let's talk money, specifically Trump's money, or at least the money he claims to have. Because when it comes to his finances, well, let's just say things get a little murky. We're talking investigations into potential tax evasion, a tangled web of business dealings, and enough shell corporations to make even the most seasoned accountant break out in a cold sweat. Now look, I'm not a financial expert. I'm a comedian with a TV show. But even I can see that when you've got more potential conflicts of interest than you do actual dollars, well, that's probably not a good look. And the thing is, these financial investigations, they're not just about boring old numbers. They're about trust. Because if a leader can't be trusted to be honest about their own finances, can they really be trusted to act in the best interests of their country? It's a question that's been swirling around Trump for years, and it's one that's not going away anytime soon. So, while the rest of the world watches the US grapple with its political future, you can bet they'll also be keeping a close eye on those financial disclosures. Because as we all know, sometimes the real story is hidden in the fine print. Let's be honest, America, you're a bit of a mess right now. And by a bit of a mess, I mean you're more divided than a Thanksgiving dinner table after someone brings up politics. And while Trump certainly didn't invent political polarization, he's been about as subtle as a sledgehammer in exploiting it. Remember when people could disagree about politics without wanting to launch their phones across the room? Yeah, me neither. It's like we've gone from having a civilized debate to engaging in political blood sport, complete with rabid fans and more mudslinging than a monster truck rally. And the thing is, this hyper-partisanship, it's not just annoying, it's dangerous. Because when people are so entrenched in their own ideological corners that they can't even agree on basic facts, well, that's a recipe for gridlock, dysfunction, and frankly, a pretty miserable time for everyone involved. So, as the world watches the US potentially gear up for another Trump presidency, they're not just looking at his policies or his legal battles, they're also looking at the state of American democracy itself. And let's just say they're probably not feeling very optimistic. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the elephantine stack of legal documents piled so high it could rival Trump Tower itself. We're talking about a man who seems to attract lawsuits like moths to a very brightly burning, probably flammable, pile of cash. We've got allegations of business fraud, election interference, mishandling classified documents like they were souvenir postcards, and inciting an insurrection that would make even a founding father spill their tea. And those are just the headliners, folks. We haven't even gotten to the hush money, the defamation suits, or the investigations into his financial dealings that make you wonder if he keeps his accountants locked in a basement somewhere. Now, you might be thinking, John, surely some of these accusations are just political hit jobs. And to that, I say maybe, maybe not. But the sheer volume of them is enough to make even the most ardent Trump supporter wonder if maybe, just maybe, there's some fire under all that smoke. The question isn't just whether he's actually guilty of all of these charges, although that's certainly a question. It's how this constant legal circus affects the American public's perception of him, and crucially, how it might impact their willingness to vote for him again. Because let's be honest, nobody wants a president who's constantly worried about getting fitted for an orange jumpsuit. America, as they say, is a melting pot. Or maybe it's more like a salad bowl. Okay, look, the point is, America is a diverse place, and it's getting more diverse by the day. And no, I'm not just talking about the rise of artisanal mayonnaise options, although that is a fascinating topic for another time. The demographics of the electorate are shifting and fast. We're seeing a surge in eligible voters from minority communities, younger voters who actually know how to use TikTok, and a growing number of people who just aren't that into old white guys who yell a lot. And this, my friends, has major implications for Trump's chances in 2024. You see, Trump's base, while passionate, is shrinking. It's like trying to win a hot dog eating contest by only appealing to people who really, really love ketchup. You might get some loyal supporters, but you're not going to win over the whole crowd. The Republican Party, which was once the exclusive club for rich white dudes named Chad, is now facing a crossroads. Do they try to broaden their appeal to this new, more diverse electorate? Or do they double down on the shrinking base that's left? Because let's be honest, if they choose the latter, they might as well start investing in those Make America Great Again hats in extra small. Now let's talk about the young people. No, not the kind who unironically wear fedoras and think they're old souls. I'm talking about Gen Z, the generation that can sniff out a phony faster than you can say influencer marketing. These are the kids who grew up with the internet, who are more likely to get their news from a meme than a cable news pundit, and who are about as likely to vote for Trump as they are to voluntarily give up their smartphones. But here's the thing about young people. They're notoriously bad at actually showing up to vote. They're like that friend who always says they're coming to your party and then bails at the last minute because they found something better to do on their phone. However, if, and this is a big if, young people actually turn out to vote in 2024, it could be a game changer. We're talking about a generation that's deeply concerned about issues like climate change, social justice, and whether or not they'll be able to afford avocado toast in this economy. And let's just say, Trump's track record on those issues isn't exactly going to win him any awards, unless, of course, they start giving out awards for most likely to deny climate change exists, or best performance by a president pretending to care about student loan debt. All right, let's talk policy, because we know how much Donald loves getting into the nitty-gritty of governance. Just kidding. The man treats policy like it's a plate of broccoli his mother is forcing him to eat. On healthcare, Trump's big plan seems to be repeal and replace. But the replace part is about as elusive as a sober Rudy Giuliani at a Four Seasons landscaping press conference. He promised better, cheaper healthcare for everyone, but his actual attempts to dismantle the Affordable Care Act would have left millions uninsured. Then there's climate change, an issue that Trump has oscillated on more wildly than a weeble wobble in an earthquake. His actions, like pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement and rolling back environmental regulations, speak louder than his spray tan. And finally, we come to social justice, an area where Trump's policies have been about as popular as a fart in a spacesuit. From his Muslim travel ban to his family separation policy at the border, his approach has been widely condemned as discriminatory and harmful. And in a shocking turn of events, it seems to be working. Now, let's talk about the economy, because nothing makes Americans angrier than seeing their dreams of owning a solid gold yacht drift away. And by solid gold yacht, I mean affording groceries and rent without a panic attack. Trump's 2024 campaign hinges on the economy and whether people feel better off than 4 years ago. If inflation is high or a recession hits, it won't endorse Trump's economic prowess. It's the economy, stupid. Voters may risk another 4 years of instability. No one wants to bring a recession to a potluck. The global economy is a fickle beast. Factors outside the US or outside anyone's control could impact Americans' economic views. Perception is reality, and if people feel the economy is headed south, it could spell trouble for Trump. Of course, a presidential election isn't just about one candidate, no matter how much one candidate might try to make it all about them. You've also got that other person, the one who, shockingly, isn't Donald J. Trump. Now, the Democratic nominee's identity will obviously play a huge role in how this whole thing shakes out. A strong, charismatic opponent who can unify the Democratic base and peel off those crucial moderate voters could be a formidable challenge for Trump. Think of it like this. If Trump is a slice of pizza that's been sitting out on the counter for a few days, the Democratic nominee needs to be a fresh, piping hot pizza straight out of the oven. Because let's be honest, a significant portion of the electorate will be voting against Trump rather than for any particular candidate. They'll be driven by a desire to see him gone, to see an end to the chaos and the tweets and the general sense that the country is being run like a poorly managed casino. And if the Democratic candidate can successfully tap into that sentiment, if they can convince voters that they represent stability, competence, and a return to some semblance of normalcy, then Trump's path to victory becomes significantly narrower. It's all about offering a clear and compelling alternative, one that doesn't involve constantly refreshing Twitter for the latest presidential meltdown. So, there you have it. A whirlwind tour of the potential factors that could influence the outcome of the 2024 election. And trust me, nobody wants to see the Trump presidency too. Electric boogaloo more than the rest of the world, right? These factors contribute to the complex landscape of US elections. But one thing is clear, the stakes couldn't be higher, not just for the United States, but for the entire world. If Trump wins the 2024 election, the world will undoubtedly question the integrity of the USA. They'll question its commitment to democracy and its adherence to the rule of law. So, stay informed, stay engaged, and make your voice heard. Because the future of American democracy, and perhaps even the world, may very well depend on it.